Hello again. It's Mr. Wisdom. Um, Today's Memorial Day, and I wanted to speak to everyone about society. We all have an obligation in our society to participate in the society, and as humans, we have an obligation to participate in humanity, in the world. Um, I think we have a responsibility, you know. For example, most men understand that, and I think for the most part, and they do it, you know. So they will go out and they'll farm and they'll fish or they'll um, build and fix and protect and you know and whatnot. I mean, provide for their family, hopefully. Not all guys will do those things, but for the most part, I think men throughout history have done that. Some obviously, obviously you have people who lose their way, or they get in a power position and excuse me, and they get power hungry, and but generally speaking, um, most men have done their responsibility. They've to humanity and to society. But then you have those few, especially nowadays. Now you have many guys that will just act as if they have no obligation to society, um, no reason to do anything like that. They just want to sit around and play video games and smoke weed, or mess around on the internet and just make a couple of silly videos, and that's it. Lay around all day and not do anything, and they don't do anything else to participate in society. They don't try and help the community. They don't they don't volunteer for things. They don't vote. They don't do anything. They just chill, and then it's all about them, and that's it. That's it. And I used to think, well, then, okay, whatever, that's fine. But if you look at nature, all species, each each unit, if you will, of each species, each animal, each insect, whatever it is, has an obligation to the collective to participate and to do certain things. And you can see in some species, if there's one that uh, advocates that responsibility and that duty to the collective society, they're kind of shunned, and in many cases they're just kicked out completely. And in the past, I've thought, oh, that's cruel um, and unnecessary. But in really contemplating this deeply, I don't think it is. I think that's the right way to go about it, because each species needs to do to the best of their ability whatever it is they need to do to not just survive but to thrive. Otherwise, the species eventually may die off. So that's why every species adapts to certain situations, regardless of what it is, whether an invasive species, a predator, whatever. You adapt. And if you have too many that are like those few anomalies that don't want to participate, that can take hold and spread, and then next thing you know, you have more that don't want to participate, because it seems a lot easier. Hey, just worry about myself and not care about anyone else and participate in anybody else. All right, sounds good. And then that grows and more and more. And next thing you know, you'll have too many in that group, in that species, that doesn't care about the collective of the species and just cares about themselves, how they feel, how they act, and how they live. and then that species gets weaker, and maybe the species isn't procreating to the level it needs to continue, and eventually it could die off if that trend continues. So I think the species are right in shunning that one or two that every now and then decides they just don't want to participate in the same way as the rest of their society is in whatever species it is. Like, for example, can you imagine a worker bee deciding, you know what, I'm not going to work. It's too hard. What's the point? I'm going to go off and just kind of chill and enjoy the flowers and just relax. I don't need to go back and help with the hive. And then every now and then go back and think that everyone's going to no. That bee, if it goes back, they know that you've been a slacker and they kick you out. Hell, some bees are kind of vicious. They might just kill you. So, right? Because they know instinctively that can grow and spread like a cancer. Now relate that to humans, and relate that to what's happening today in America and Europe and some parts with many people, men and women, and I think you get it. Hopefully, we have too many that are just consuming themselves and don't really care about participating in society as a whole. Don't really care how society ends up as long as they're good. And to an extent, that's okay. But you have to also consider the wide, broader society, humanity in general. It has to not only progress and thrive, but it has to thrive in a positive way, not in a negative way. Now, obviously, humans were a little different, a lot different than other species. And we have all these robotics and these things and drones and robots and that actually presents a danger going forth, because as we automate more and as we have robots doing so many things for us, there'll be more and more lazy people who won't care to really participate in society. And when I say participate, for example, I mean, so many of these people, they only communicate online and through text messages. They don't even go out and talk to anyone face to face, or even on the phone. That's somehow a bad thing for them. It's a strange thing for someone of my age, to see someone who just avoids face-to-face communication like the plague, or even on the phone. So, in a sense, they're almost becoming like a robot themselves, an automaton, sort of speak. Anyway, so, but so far, still, most men understand their duty as a man to society and humanity, and I think most men do it. May not do it well, but they do it. They try hard. And then, of course, men have a role in any type of marriage, being a father. You have a role, and I think most men at least try to do it. And, some may not do it very well, but they at least understand it, that this is their responsibility, and that's what they're supposed to do. That's what they were, one of the things that they were made to do. And I think in the past, in this country and worldwide, women are the same thing. They understood their responsibility to the society and to humanity. You know, for example, I mean, like men again, it's to go out and work hard and build, do all the crappy, tough things to build society, to fix things, and protect and provide for your family. And women understood that in the past, and I think most of the world still women understand that, and they do exactly what God put them on here to do, which is to procreate, to have children, and to raise them properly in a way that is good for them, good for the family, and ultimately good for the society and humanity, because you raise them in the right way. Unfortunately, nowadays you have too many women, especially in the West, in America in particular, that just abdicate all of that, and not only do they not want to have kids at all, but they don't want to take the responsibility to do everything they can to not get pregnant, and then when they do, they want to just murder the baby in the womb and then move on with their life as if everything's good. And so you don't have to have children as a woman. You don't absolutely have to. But if you don't, then you also need to then participate in society in other ways. Be a scientist, a doctor, a nurse, something of value to the greater society and humanity. Of course, you can do both as well. You can be a mother and a good mother, and also do those things as well. I'm not saying you can't. You definitely can. I'm not suggesting that you must just have kids and stay home and take care of the kids. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that is, for virtually every woman, that is nature, and that is your responsibility to humanity and the local society to do exactly that. Have children and raise them. And you raise them, not somebody else. You raise them how you want. And hopefully that's in a good way so that they're happy and healthy and productive humans. So we progress as a society and as humanity. So, but unfortunately nowadays, like I was saying, with some of these men, they're not doing their duties, right? They don't want to do any of those things that men have done throughout history, which is do those dirty jobs, build those things, fix things, protect, and have a family and provide for them and protect them. And then you have so many women who are also doing the same thing and advocating that, and not having kids, not doing one of those great careers like doctor, nurse, and scientist, and whatnot, that really helps society. And some women, one way, let me say this real quick. So, like in the past, one thing that women are really great at is they would sacrifice any dream maybe they had, and they would have the children and raise them, but they wouldn't just raise them alone. They knew all their neighbors. They didn't exactly get along with everybody, but they knew most of them and got along with most of them. And everybody looked out for each other's kids. Right? I remember when I was a kid, if I went around and did something bad, my neighbor might look and say, "Hey, I'm going to tell your mother," or grab me by the ear and drag me to my mother and say, "Your son was doing this and that." And the mother would be appreciative. Nowadays, if a mom did that to someone else's kid, she's going to get in a fight and might go to jail. So whole society is completely changed. Um, Also, what women used to do, they were really good at doing, was they would be community organizers, right? And they were the glue for the family, glue for the neighborhood and the whole community, because they would communicate well with everybody and keep everybody together and do create different farmers markets and health fairs and these things, and they would participate in PTA and city commerce things, and connect everybody. And when you're more connected, you communicate better, and you have less problems. And then if outside people come in and they're agitators, people will get the word out real quick and to look out for them. Kind of a neighborhood watch sort of thing, but like not in exactly the same way. But anyway, and so that was a great thing. So it wasn't just simply that they were, staying home, having kids, and taking care of the kids and whatnot. They were also taking care of the community, and that's one thing they're great at. So nowadays, most women don't do that, and you see the decline in society, right? Because of it, part of it. It's not entirely from that, but I mean, part of it I think is because of that. And then, like I said, it is possible to have a career and have children, but you need to also make sure you have lots of time with the kids and really speak to them properly, communicate, get to know them well. They need to know you well. And too many women don't really go that extra mile for that. So they spend so much time at work, and even when they're home, they're halfway at work in their mind. Maybe they're doing work from home, conference calls and whatnot. And so the kids are just left there going, do I even have a mother? Is that my mother, or is that the babysitter? I've seen videos that, mothers were complaining that they'd come home and the kids wouldn't recognize them as their mother. They thought the babysitter was the mother. Well, you can't blame the child, because that's who's there more than the nanny is, or babysitters are there more than the mother. And it's not just time, but emotional time. Like if you continue down that path, by the time they're in their teens, they don't even know you, and you don't know them. So they don't feel they can come to you if they have any problems, or if they want to talk at all. And that can create bigger problems. And they're more influenced by people outside of the family than in the family, because they're not connected strongly with the family and the neighborhood. So it's a breakdown of society. And then the bad trend, too, to add insult to injury, is how women want to have a kid or two, but not even get married and not even have the father participate in that. They actively try to push the father away, keep the father away. Now, if the father's a bad guy, okay, got it. But in most cases, that's not it. Right? So they'll have the kids, just want his money to help raise the kid, but don't want him around. And it has a very negative effect on the children. And we're witnessing that. So they're more influenced by their teachers and just other people on the street, and TikTok videos and TV and whatnot. Excuse me. Than their mother, So it's not good. I kind of got away from my earlier point. So if you have somebody, man or woman, and they're not really participating in society, in humanity, right? So they're not doing their duties as a man or a woman, and they're not doing anything to help society in any way, then I think they should be shunned. You know? Excuse me. So, for example, like me, I worked hard since the time I was a kid. I mean, extremely hard. For many, probably most of my adult life, uh, 10 to 12 hour work days, 6 days a week was normal, plus commute. And physically and or emotionally difficult. Um, so I've paid my dues. But I did have, several years where I wasn't myself paying, contributing to society. But I was wasn't in my right mind. I kind of got depressed and whatnot. Um, but I've snapped out of that, and I'm back. You know, and the reason I call myself Mr. Wisdom is because at 58, I have, excuse me, I have so much life experience. I probably have more life experience than 5 or 6 people combined together. I mean, crazy amount of life experience. I've lived in Europe. I've lived in South America. I've traveled the entire country. Lived in multiple states. Excuse me. And when I travel, because of my philosophy and psychology background, I'm so sorry. I talk to people, I observe people, and at any given time, I've got usually several kind of trials that I'm things I'm looking at, like what makes people left-handed, what makes people act this way, and that different things like that. It's always running in my mind. I observe people. Um, and I make notes and I learn from that. So basically, the crux of what I'm talking about is I do believe that if you just don't participate whatsoever in society, you should be shunned. Now, if you had participated for 30, 40 years and you're retired and you're not doing much, okay, no worries. You paid your dues. You're fine. Retire, do whatever you want. But if you're in your teens, 20s, 30s, and you're just kind of a beach bum and you don't really do anything in society, and maybe you don't even vote or care about what's going on in the world and the country, then I think you should be shunned. Because what use? What good are you? I mean, you're not doing any good. And like I said earlier, that type of thing can kind of spread. People see that your life is so easy, and they go, well, you know what? I want to do that, and then they check out of society. And you have too many people do that, you can have some serious problems. So, I hope you don't look at this as too negative. When I say shunned, I don't mean like you talk really bad about them and do anything to them. I'm just saying, don't look at them as somebody who deserves the same respect as those of us who are participating. And if they sit here and want to complain about government, for example, but they don't do anything, they don't vote, they don't participate in any way, shape, or form to make a change, then in that respect, I mean, it should be just kind of shunned, like you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what you're talking about, and just leave them. Don't have respect for them. because there's too many people that they want to sit here and they want to tell police how to police, but yet they have no clue what they're talking about. For example, right? Never been to an academy, never been in law enforcement. You have no right to tell a cop how to be a cop because you've never done it. It's like telling a soldier how to be a soldier and you've never been in the military. What? Because you read a book? So those people like that should be shunned, I think, from society. I hope I'm getting my point across. I'm not sure if I am. Your AOC, for example, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She knows nothing about nothing. I mean, she knows nothing about everything. I guess it's probably the best way to. Yet she has an opinion. She definitely knows nothing about business. Yet has an opinion, and unfortunately, her opinion, people actually listen because they unfortunately put her in a position to make change. So I think that's basically what I'm talking about. So she should have been shunned. In other words, not let her become a politician because she doesn't know anything, and she's made so many mistakes and cost people a lot of jobs and tax revenue because she's just talking out of sheer ignorance, and act as if she knows, but she doesn't know. And that's kind of what I mean, And I'm not picking on her specifically, but just in general, that was a kind of a good example because now you've taken someone who really doesn't participate in any real meaningful way. Even in Congress, what has she done? She's done nothing. She's literally done nothing. She's been there like 8 years or something, and she's done nothing. But nothing good, anyway. All she's done is bring people down and infect society, so now you have more and more people who think and act like her. You see what I'm saying? Alright, I'm going on a little too long. Didn't want to do that. Anyway, please comment, good or bad. Keep it civil. Like, dislike. Just please do something there. And, share the video. Let's get some discussions. Maybe I'm wrong in a way, but let me know, and we can discuss civilly, and let's try and help society. That's basically what it comes down to. Let's participate, help humanity, help society, so that we thrive in a positive way. All right. Until next time, Mr. Wisdom.